So what's going on YouTube? Welcome back to the JevMan316 Pop Culture Reporter channel. I'm your host, as always, JevMan316. And I saw a movie here recently. If you follow me on social media, you saw where I posted. I saw Barbarian, and I really liked it. So I wanted to give a little quickie review. I try to do it in 5 minutes or less. That's what we call a quickie, because who doesn't like a quickie? And I'm going to talk to you about Barbarian. So I know a lot of people think this is horror movie of the year. Do I think so? Well, wait and you'll find out. Let's go. So I like how the Internet Movie Database describes this movie. I'll go ahead and read it to you. A woman staying in an Airbnb discovers that the house she has rented is not what it seems. I'll give them credit. They don't spoil anything if that's all you read, just like the trailers. I'll just tell you, a majority of what you see in the trailer, if you watched it, happens during the first act. They don't spoil hardly anything else of the movie. Georgina Campbell plays a character called Tess. Bill Skarsgård plays a character called Keith. The two of them make up the first act. The interactions that they have together, basically just the two of them make up the first act. Awesome first act. Justin Long plays an actor named AJ who comes along in the second act. And then you get a little mini third act that includes a character named Frank that's played by Richard Brake, who's always creepy and I don't know, he just looks like he'd be a disgusting human being in everything he's in. And then the final act I'm not going to spoil. I'm not really going to talk a lot about that at all. So everything you've seen in the trailer is basically the first act. Tess finds out that the house that she's rented, the Airbnb, she arrives in the dark. It's in an area of Detroit that's kind of gone way down, let's just say. You don't find out how bad it looks until the next day in the light, but let's just say she arrives, finds out that Keith is there and that he's been rented the house and has been double booked.
Yeah.
This is 476 Barbarian, right?
Yeah, I'm renting this place.
No, I booked it a month ago.
Are you sure you have the right place?
Yeah. What am I supposed to do?
It's basically the only house in this rundown area that's even available. So that's probably one reason it got double booked. But with that being said, the two of them interact, and through some tense moments, you know, Tess doesn't know what to think of Keith. Keith tries to talk to her and make her feel more comfortable. You can tell that she's being very guarded, doesn't know what to make of Keith. He eventually makes her feel welcome, makes her feel more safe, and he talks her into staying there. Tess discovers, after hearing something in the basement, that there's more going on in that basement than it seems. There's a hidden passage that you see her open up in the trailer, and what's going on down there, she gets scared. Now, I'm not going to spoil anything. This movie you need to go into without knowing a lot about it, because I think once you know the hooks and once you know what's going on, you're not going to have the same creepy feel that you're going to have on multiple viewings of this. The first one needs to be without a lot of context. So let's just say that she's creeped out by what she finds. She talks Keith. Keith wants to go down there and see it for himself. And once he gets down there, that's when all hell breaks loose. And I'm not going to say that the movie's really scary. It takes a lot for me. I don't even think I could be scared. But I will say that once you find out a brief glimpse of what's happening down there, it's pretty creepy what you see. So I will say this. I love the style that this movie, how it's made. It's almost like Tarantino-esque. As soon as that first act and the hook happens, it abruptly cuts to the second act, which is Justin Long finding out he's an actor that he's getting removed from a TV show because of, let's just say, he has been sexually harassing another actress, and she basically accuses him of rape, and it's how he deals with that. Come to find out, one of the properties he owns is the house that they got double booked at in the first act. So he shows up there and sees their stuff there. And I'm not going to explain why they're not there because that'll spoil the story. But let's just say he gets involved in the same thing that they did. So once that he gets added to the story, you see a little more of what's going on downstairs. And it's some creepy fucking moments in that part. So then the third act comes along, and that's where Richard Brake, you find out he owned the house originally and didn't want to move when everybody else was moving out. and you find out what an exact creepy fuck he is about what he was doing in that house. And it adds another layer of creepiness, yuckiness, just nastiness to this story. And so when all three of those stories happen and they're over with, then you get the final act and you finally understand exactly what's happened and why it's happened. And it becomes a little more cookie cutter. I think the first 3 acts are really good, but once that final act starts, I kind of figured out, I knew exactly what was going to happen. I think people are going overboard because of the first parts of the movie, and the movie actually having a hook and an actual plot point that isn't shown in the trailer and that you don't know until you see it the first time. I think people are going overboard by saying that this is movie of the year. Don't get me wrong, it's really good. It looks great. The sound design is excellent when you hear what's going on down in those tunnels. The acting is great. That first act with the two main characters interacting. Justin Long is great, as he always is. He could be in a comedy one minute and be in a horror movie like this. He can play a lovable guy. He can play a fucking douchebag, which he is in this. And I'll just go ahead and say this. One of the things that I think a couple people I've talked to were turned off by is there's a running theme in this movie about men, how men treat women. Each of the main male characters in this treat women in a different way and make women feel uncomfortable. Now, I'll say the good thing about it is they don't hit you over the head with this. Everything's subtle. It's woven into the story about how, the female characters feel about men and how the men treat women. It doesn't hit you over the head like the movie Men. Now, if you want to be hit over the head by that topic, watch that. So I think they do a really excellent job of that. So don't go into it thinking that it's going to be woke or that you're going to be, men bashing in this. It's not. It's really subtle, and I think it really adds to the plot and the tense feeling that especially Tess has about all the men that she interacts with in the movie. So I like it. Like I said, I'm not going to go overboard and say this is movie of the year. I still like X better than this. So I was doing that if you couldn't see. So either way, I haven't been able to see Pearl, so I also think I might like Pearl better than this. But I'm going to just say this movie is excellent. It gets 2 very enthusiastic thumbs up. It's way better than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was overblown and that people were blowing it out of proportion, but it is really good. I think you should see it before you. Don't let anybody spoil anything for you. You do need to see it one time. See it in the theater or see it when, I don't know when it's going to come streaming, but don't let anybody spoil it for you, because once that happens, I think it's going to ruin multiple viewings, or you won't think about the movie the same in the future once you know the hook and what happens. So what do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. Have you seen Barbarian? Have you not? Did you like it? Did you think it was movie of the year? Did you think the last act was predictable? Put all that in the comments. Let's talk about it. Like, comment, subscribe, share, do all that with all my videos. And I love you guys, and keep coming back, and I'll keep making great content. And this is JebMan316, your pop culture reporter, signing out, saying you guys be safe out there.